Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Season 8 premiere of Stick to Sports.
We've got an absolute doozy of a show today as we recap yet another week of NBA and NHL action. Plus, the NFL offseason is heating up, and finally, we'll discuss the industry-changing event that was the WWE Elimination Chamber.
Boys, I've been waiting months to say this. Roll it!
Welcome back. We're going to get right into it. After suffering a humiliating loss last night against the Timberwolves, this season for the Phoenix Suns just keeps getting worse. Last night marked the Suns' 11th loss in their last 14 games, as they now fall to 28-33 on the year. The team is 4 games behind the Dallas Mavericks for the last spot in the play-in tournament with just 21 games left to play. Alex, how does a team with playoff aspirations led by Kevin Durant manage to underachieve by this much?
Well, we have a direct quote from Kevin Durant coming after this loss to the Timberwolves. He's saying, we didn't play up to our standards at all. We embarrassed the fans, we embarrassed ourselves and the way we played, and I want us to be better. What this shows to me is that there are some serious problems going on in the locker room in Phoenix. I mean, not too long ago, I believe it was 4 days ago, there was a meeting between head coach Mike Budenholzer and Devin Booker, their second star behind Kevin Durant. Mike Budenholzer said to Mike Booker that he was too vocal. And Devin Booker addressed this meeting claiming that it wasn't that big of a deal, nobody should look into it too much. But when something like that happens, you're begging for national media attention to get on you. Everybody is going to talk about that. I mean, over the past 7 games coming out of the All-Star break, the All-Star break is supposed to be a period of rest, relaxation, just let your body get adjusted to, the long season. Coming out of the All-Star break, the Suns don't look rested at all. They've gone 2-5 out of the All-Star break. The only move that they made at the trade deadline was getting rid of Yusuf Nurkic and replacing him with center from the Hornets, Nick Richards. And Nick Richards has not played all that great. He's a 7-1 center who's averaging 0.8 blocks a game since coming to Phoenix. I mean, that's not much of an upgrade in my books, and when that's the only move, I don't see a lot there.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this team, they've got so much talent on that roster. Grayson Allen, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. So you got to wonder, what is the issue here? And I think you're right, it comes down to that locker room. It's just not where it needs to be. Now, with that said, from playoff pretenders to playoff contenders, here we go, as last Friday, Knicks center Mitchell Robinson made his season debut, tallying 6 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist over 12 minutes. Connor, how significant is this move for the Knicks as they look for a much-needed defensive boost heading into the playoffs?
Well, Mike, this is an absolutely critical move for the New York Knicks. I mean, this is a team, unlike what we kind of see, what we've come to expect from Tom Thibodeau coach teams, very well run defensively. But this Knicks team this year has been the exact opposite of it. Now, granted, they did have that massive trade for superstar Karl Anthony Towns, which hurt their defensive depth in the offseason. But starting the season with Mitchell Robinson on the bench has forced the Knicks to start Cat at the center, which has been very difficult for them offensively. And Robinson's presence on defense has been surely missed. I mean, the Knicks are bottom 3 in the league in terms of points given up in the paint, and that's something that Mitchell Robinson can easily fix.
Absolutely, Connor. You're absolutely right. When a crazy stat here is in Mitchell Robinson's debut against the Grizzlies, he had a net rating of plus 55 in the 12 minutes that he was on the floor. His ability to be an anchor for this defense cannot be understated. I mean, when you have guys like Precious Achiuwa coming off the bench, adding Mitch Rob and a true center to your bench unit makes you infinitely times better. But from one garden tenant to another, the New York Rangers, despite a deep playoff run last year, which saw them lose to the eventual Cup champion Florida Panthers in the Eastern Conference final, have completely collapsed this year. Connor, what went wrong for this once Cup favorite as they now sit 2 spots out of the wild card spot in the Eastern Conference.
Well, Alex, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the league has caught up to the fundamental flaws in the New York Rangers roster construction. Ever since 2022, when this window really opened for the Rangers, they have not been good 5-on-5. And to win in the postseason, that's where you need to excel. The Rangers are really good on the power play because they invest in these quick, skilled players. But the fact of the matter is, in the postseason, when these bigger teams like the Florida Panthers, who have big forwards like Matthew Tkachuk Brady Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk, and Sam Reinhart and Alexander Barkov, these guys just forecheck so aggressively. And key skill players like Artemi Panarin and Mika Zibanejad are just too small to break through that forecheck, and the Rangers just have no offense whatsoever.
And Connor, I think something absolutely necessary to notice is the fall off of Igor Shesterkin absolutely needs to be studied. I mean, what an impressive season he had last year, and this year he's been so subpar, just not what you want to see from a goaltender of that caliber.
He certainly has had a down year, but it is a key reflection on the Rangers' inability to play defense. I mean, out of the 7 guys that started this season in their defensive pairings, they are currently missing 3. They traded them away. And the Rangers, just to get back on 5-on-5, they won the President's Trophy last year. Their 5-on-5 goal differential was +1.
Yeah, no, and losing guys like Ryan Ringen and Jimmy Vesey. We talk about lost locker rooms in the Phoenix Suns. I mean, that hurt the locker room absolutely for the Rangers.
Staying in the Metro, we take a look at the division's current second seed, the Carolina Hurricanes. While Carolina has certainly had a good season, the big story out of Raleigh is the disappearance of newly acquired winger Mikko Rantanen. Connor, what does this mean for Carolina's future, and could we potentially see Rantanen, thank you.
There you go.
Rantanen get dealt again before the trade deadline.
Well, I mean, Sammy, I think we have to see him get dealt again before the trade line because it just makes no sense for Carolina to keep him on their roster. He's been here for 9 games. It hasn't worked. It's very obvious it hasn't worked. It's very obvious that he just doesn't fit their system. Now, if you want to argue, is that because he was playing with the former league MVP or the current league favorite for the MVP, Nathan MacKinnon, and now he's not? You could make that point, but I think they have to trade him because it makes no sense for a guy that's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. If he's not going to help your cup run, why is he on your team?
Absolutely, I agree with you. And, you know, this is a guy who has just been an all-star. And like you said, he's not fitting into the system. 6 points in his last 10 games, 4-6 in those last 10 games. Hurricanes got to make some moves.
We're going to take a quick break here on Stick to Sports, but up next we'll take a look at some of the early NFL offseason moves right here on WTOP 10.
Hey there, I'm Al Roker, class of 76. Yes, way back in 76. Back when the earth was cooling. You're watching WTOP.
The Kinda Late Show with Chloe and Anna. Like licorice, Twizzlers, absolutely nasty. The thought of turkey is just nauseating.
I think
can't.
you're wrong, is what I think.
You think I'm wrong a lot of times.
I do think you're wrong a lot.
When you look at the number of disasters in the U.S., chances are every area will deal with some kind of emergency in the next decade. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
I guess I have really been looking for love in this dating app. Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
So, transitioning into the NFL, with all of the draft buzz happening around the league, we got a brand new headline about a veteran last Saturday. Star wide receiver Deebo Samuel was traded to the Washington Commanders for a 5th-round pick, adding another veteran to this locker room. Sammy, do you think that the Commanders won this trade, and how do you think it affects the Commanders coming off of such a deep playoff run?
I think we're going to have another Des Bryant on the Ravens situation. I can't lie to you. Deebo Samuel has not shown that he deserves to have a spot on that all-star commander, or an all-star commander team, but that deep playoff run team. I mean, he still is dropping passes. He was 25 pounds overweight on the weigh-in, and now he's on the Commanders, but
no faith for him, man? You don't think he can cut a little bit of weight?
I think he can
be a good veteran presence?
I think he can cut the weight, but I don't know if he is able to fit into Cliff Kingsbury's offense very well.
We shall see.
Yeah, and gentlemen, for me, I think it's the attitude. I mean, we saw it a lot more this season, whether that was on Twitter with his rants about throw me the ball, I'll catch it, and then he would proceed to go and drop like 5 balls in the next game, or crashing out on his teammate Jake Moody, who's a really phenomenal kicker in the NFL, had a bad game, missed a couple PATs, missed a field goal, like screaming at him on the sideline. That's unacceptable, and frankly, if I'm a coach or I'm another teammate, that's not someone who I want on my sideline.
Big thing about that crash out on Jake Moody, he was actually wearing a C for the team, meaning he was a team captain, showing the least amount of leadership I have ever seen on the field. That being said, this is a massive move for the Washington Commanders. They did not have a wide receiver 2 last year. I mean, their wide receiver 2 was Noah Brown. Like, to pair Deebo now with Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, and the amazing offensive rookie of the year, Jaden Daniels. I mean, this is looking like a team that plans to compete for that NFC East title this year.
I completely agree, Connor. And I think that, if he takes a little bit of a step back, he doesn't have to be, the main guy. He can be a weapon out of the backfield with Austin Eckler, with Brian Robinson. Like, he can be somebody who's versatile in that offense, with Jaden Daniels always on the run and him being such a run-heavy guy. This is an absolute steal for the Commanders.
I think you guys are forgetting about Commanders legends Jahan Dotson, okay?
All right, Sammy, next topic.
All right. In other wide receiver news, the New York Jets announced that they will be moving on from Davante Adams this offseason. Adams joined the team midway through last season and had great production, putting up 854 yards and 7 touchdowns in 11 games. Mike, with the Jets saving $38.2 million by cutting Adams, was this the right move, and where do you think he'll end up?
Sammy, I think it was absolutely the right move. Adams had very little production with the Jets this season. Maybe that's because of Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Maybe that's because he's old and washed up. I'll say he's washed up. I believe that Davante Adams is washed up. Alex might kill me for that. But I think it's the right move. Where he's going to end up, that's really hard to say. There's a lot of teams that need receivers, but to pinpoint just one that I think he's going to end up on would be very difficult.
We mentioned that this was a good move for the Jets, and I think it is, as there were reports coming out towards the end of the season that potentially Garrett Wilson wasn't going to be looking to re-sign here long term if his spot as the #1 wide receiver was going to be taken by Davante, and that, if you read the tea leaves, did have a big reason for the Jets not bringing back Aaron Rodgers this year, because if he was coming back, his buddy was coming back as well.
Absolutely, and it saves them $38.2 million. That is so much cap space in the NFL, and it gives them options to look at that 7th pick at guys like Terratoa McMillan out of Arizona State. There's a lot that they can do in that position.
Yeah, and speaking of disastrous New York teams, after Matthew Stafford has re-signed with the Rams, the Giants have pivoted to fill their much-needed hole at the quarterback position. Multiple rumors have sprouted saying the Giants could have interest in signing the guy I was just talking about, Aaron Rodgers, to a 1-year deal as a bridge option. Connor, being the Giants connoisseur that you are, how would you feel about a 41-year-old quarterback on your team, and what do you think the Giants should do?
I mean, why the Giants, Aaron? Why? You saw how it worked with the Jets. The Giants have a worse O-line, a worse defense, worse weapons. You can make the case they're in an easier conference with the NFC, but they're in a harder division. I mean, let's be so for real. The Giants are finishing 4th in the NFC East last year. The only way that this makes sense for Aaron Rodgers is because the Giants have a home for him. They say, Aaron, we have nobody. Please come here. If you want my opinion, you know what's more cost-effective and is less of a locker room cancer, even though everybody says they love Aaron Rodgers, but I can't deal with McAfee every Tuesday. Get Jameis Winston. He's a locker room guy. The players love him. Get him here for a year.
I think I completely agree. Find Jameis as a 1-year bridge option. This is a weaker quarterback class in the draft. Wait a year. Draft George Manning. Let's go 2.0. Let's go Manning 2.0. Draft Travis Hunter at 3. Let's go for Manning. Royalty.
Absolutely not. I know I can't really talk about quarterback depth in here because I'm a Raiders fan and we are just as bad as them. But at least we have the GOAT, the greatest quarterback of all time, Aiden O'Connell.
Said no one ever.
Said no one ever.
Quoting it right now, Aiden O'Connell will be Tom Brady 2.0.
Yep. Okay. Well,
Mark
we'll
it.
age terribly.
You sound more delusional than a Dallas Cowboys fan right now, and that's saying a lot because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan.
I disagree.
All right, from veterans to rookies, top edge rushing prospect Abdul Carter out of Penn State is expected to miss 8 weeks due to a foot injury, with the combine ending last week. Carter was unable to show off his freakish athleticism to NFL scouts around the league. The Tennessee Titans currently hold the first overall pick, and many mock drafts think Carter could go #1. Alex, do you think that this injury will actually affect Carter's draft stock?
See, I think that a lot of people are saying that it will tank his draft stock a little bit, but I just don't see it. This is a guy who was 7th in sacks in college football, 3rd in pressures, and the biggest thing to me is that he showed that he can play on the biggest stage. Penn State lost to Notre Dame 27-24, a very close game, but Carter showed out with a sack and 2 tackles for loss. This is a guy who can get into the backfield with ease. They are comparing him to Micah Parsons. He is going to be one of the next best talents in this league. I don't think it affects his draft stock that much. I think he is going to come back and better than ever.
I completely agree. When you have a motor like that, it runs through the whistle. He is very disciplined. He is very strong and a very fast competitor. I think he will still go #1 no matter what.
Absolutely, I completely agree. We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, it'll be time for our fast break as we recap the industry-changing weekend in the world of WWE.
Good tease.
Beautiful.
Jill told me it was Kitty from Glee. Yeah, what is it?
Al Roker.
We're here for you, we're here for you. This is your channel 2. With sports and news and what to do, we're here for you. It's your TV, you're watching WTLP. Your TV, thanks for watching WTLP.
What's going on?
Yeah, dude, we go on at like 11:30. It's like
No.
What do you mean no?
It's 10:30.
10:30?
Yeah, it's 10:30.
What do you mean it's 10:30?
Hey, don't touch that. That's my ladder.
Hey, man.
Whoa.
You know this book was already discounted 10%?
Wow. Get a close up of that one.
Matthew,
Look at that.
Can we go back inside? I want to sleep in the studio again.
Sports, it's time for the fast break, and today we'll be recapping the industry-changing premium live event that was the WWE Elimination Chamber.
Well, boys, the PLE started out with a banger as we were treated to an amazing women's elimination chamber match right out of the gate. But before the match could even get underway, we saw the shocking return of Jade Cargill as she ferociously attacked Naomi. Mike, what does Jade's return mean for the elimination chamber Bianca Belair as she looks to navigate her friendship with both women?
Yeah, Connor, it's a hard thing to say for sure, but obviously really close with Jade Cargill before she was attacked. Became really, really close with Naomi after she was attacked, bringing her in as her tag team partner. Of course, they lost the titles to Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez just a week prior to the chamber. So no real titles holding those two together. I think she's either going to try and side back with Jade, but I don't know if Jade will accept her in as a friend once again after going and fighting with Naomi in her place for a solid, 3 months?
Yeah, that's a fantastic point, Mike. I mean, it really looked like as soon as Jade was put out of action by the mysterious attacker, who now we all kind of assume is Naomi, but it looked like Bianca just didn't really skip a beat. Like, granted, there was a moment for concern for like a week on SmackDown, but immediately afterwards, she was thrust back into the tag team title picture with Naomi. I mean, if that's your best friend, how can you move on that fast?
I tell you guys, this storyline is getting me antsy for WrestleMania 41. I mean, like, Just looking at who Belair is going to choose, how her emotions are going to get the best of her, choosing between two friends, I mean, we're really in for a special time in April.
Yeah, and keeping the theme of former friends turned enemies, we were treated to yet another classic in the latest installation of Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. As we saw, both men tried to end each other's careers in an unsanctioned match. Victory, however, wasn't enough for Kevin Owens, as he would try to end Sami Zayn's career by delivering a package pile driver onto exposed concrete. But just in the nick of time, Sami was saved by the returning Randy Orton. Connor, what does Randy's return mean for Kevin Owens' future after Owens purposely injured Randy last December?
Well, I mean, we saw as soon as Randy came, he tried to hit Kevin with a punt kick and almost end his career, take him out of action, just like we saw Kevin do to Randy with that package pile driver 3 months ago. I mean, it's clear Randy's out for revenge. You don't try and end another man's career, something that he spent over 20 years at, something that he was bred for. His father brought him into this business, and to expect the apex predator, Randy Orton, the man who hears voices in his head, to just let that go? I mean, come on, Kevin, how delusional are you?
I mean, the Owens and Zayn matchup, it was absolutely ferocious. These guys are throwing trash cans at each other, hockey sticks to the face. I mean, you could tell that these past friends just absolutely hate each other now, and it was just insane to see Randy Orton just save through the concrete. I mean, this is as exciting as it gets storyline-wise.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you have an unsanctioned match against two friends turned enemies. I mean, we're really getting into rivalries. I mean, I'd hit Mike across the face if I was angry at him too with a hockey stick, dude. I mean, come on. Like this is
wow.
Sorry, I didn't. Not really.
It's okay. Save your beef for after the show. But finally, in the match of the night, we saw something that took 20 years in the making. The greatest of all time, John Cena, did the unthinkable and turned heel during his retirement tour. Cena officially sold his soul to the final boss, The Rock, when he viciously attacked his former friend and WWE Undisputed Champion, Cody Rhodes. Connor, how can we ever look at Cena the same way, and how does Cody Rhodes once again overcome the odds and defeat yet another faction created by The Rock designed to end his championship hopes?
Yeah, I mean, so many layers to this story, Alex. For 20 years, John Cena was the face of WWE. Hustle, loyalty, respect. These were words that he lived by. These are words that he had told me buying on the back of a t-shirt, begging my mom to spend her hard-earned money. And now, just like it was all for nothing, he throws it all away and sells his soul to the final boss, The Rock. I mean, Mike, come on, what are we talking about here?
And you know, Connor, as much as it breaks my heart that he's now a heel, I love it. I love it so much. John Cena as a heel, I think, is going to be one of the most exciting storylines in WWE history.
It broke my heart to watch that happen. I was watching that live, and man, the words I have for John Cena right now would make me liable for something, I'm sure.
20 years in the making, did not disappoint.
And that's it for the fast break. We're going to take a quick timeout, but coming up after the break, it's extra innings, and we're going to give you our picks right here on WTOP 10.
Say, President Stanley, whenever there's bad weather, who would you turn to?
I'd turn to Storm Team 10.
No, but you've got to say it like this. Storm Team 10. Say it with me. Storm Team 10.
Roll it. Jill told me it was Kitty from Glee. Yeah, what is it?
Al Roker.
Welcome back to Stick to Sports. Let's get into everyone's favorite segment, picks. Gentlemen, it's time for the first picks of the semester. We've all come to the decision that after each season of Stick to Sports, the standings will reset back to square one. Alex came out on top last semester, so we're going to start with him. Full transparency, we have a little bit of a staler slate compared to matchups in the past, but we'll still take our picks of some rivalry games coming up this week. The first matchup we have is a rivalry as old as time. Lakers-Celtics this Saturday. Alex, who do you have winning this one in the Garden?
So despite the Lakers being on a massive hot streak after acquiring Luka Doncic in a trade, I'm going to take the Celtics in this matchup because I don't think that the Lakers have been truly tested with a true stretch five who can shoot as consistently as Porzingis. I have the Celtics winning this matchup. I
have to disagree with you. I think Luka and my glorious King LeBron James will carry the game against the Lakers. I'm taking, give me the Lakers 116 to 106.
All right.
I don't think it's even going to be close. I think the Celtics are going to blow the Lakers out of the water. Give me Celtics 122 to 101. I don't think the Lakers can hang with them.
This game's kind of reminding me of that test that the Lakers had last week against Denver. A lot of people counting them out, kind of interested to see how they would deal with the big test that is Denver now with the stretch five, like Alex has said. But I do think that J.J. Redick is not going to sleep for 3 days before this game like he did before the Denver game, and I have the Lakers 103-98 in a very close, tight game.
Great point. He's going to pull a red eye. But moving from the court to the ring, we have a light heavyweight matchup between Alex Pereira and Muhammad Ankalaev. Connor, give us a little preview of this matchup, and who do you think will come out on top?
Well, I'm going to take Alex Poatan Pereira and all of his insane godly power. I mean, that guy, they actually did tests on his fist when he was at the UFC Performance Institute. He hits harder than any human in history before. I don't know how we have the technology to figure that out. I trust him. I love Pereira, round 1 KO. He's been undefeated ever since he moved up to light heavyweight. He's going to stay undefeated on Saturday.
Great take.
I'm also going to take Pereira, round 1 KO. Pretty simple. I just don't think Ankalaev can hang with him. I think it's going to be like 3 or 4 punches. He's out cold.
Fair enough.
I have to agree with you, Mike. I am also round 1 knockout. I mean, I watched this guy punch. I played a lot of UFC. I've gotten punched by this guy a lot. He knocks you out.
I mean, fair enough. I'll make it a little bit different here, and I'll go Ankalaev solely because guys with really heavy-hitting punches tend to have not the best stamina. Maybe Ankalaev can take him a couple rounds. Maybe he can knock one lucky hit. We'll see.
Moving from the main event to the co-main event, we see a rematch between former interim lightweight champions Justin Gaethje and Rafael Fiziev. Connor, can Gaethje get the job done again?
I think he can. Justin Gaethje in his last fight with Fiziev was the hyped-up prospect, and going into that fight, the narrative was that Gaethje was the old timely veteran. He was going to get passed by, but Gaethje clearly showed that there are levels to this sport. There's levels to that lightweight division, and Gaethje being a former BMF champion, former interim UFC lightweight champion, I think he's going to get it done, and I got him by decision, just like he won the first time he met.
Yeah, Connor, and I'm going to go with Fiziev here. I think it's going to be a really solid fight, but I think they're going to go all 3 rounds. Fiziev's going to win on decision.
I disagree. I'm taking Gaethje on doctor's decision. I think he's going to cut his eyebrow. It's going to be blood all over his face. It's not going to work. I think Gaethje's going to win by doctor decision.
I'm going to take Gaethje in this matchup. Like Connor said already, his former experience, I think, plays a lot into these bouts, and I do think Gaethje will ultimately take this match.
Yeah, and finally, we'll give our takes on the biggest story in the NHL. We already previewed the situation earlier in the show, but Connor, what say you? Does Rantanen get traded, and if so, where does he go?
I think he has to get traded. It's just organizational malfeasance if the Carolina Hurricanes decide to keep him. I've got him going to the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, they're the top team in the Western Conference. They're 1 point behind the Capitals for the President's Trophy at the current moment. I think he's going to go to Winnipeg.
You know what? I completely agree with you. I think he's getting traded. Not to the Jets, though. I think he's going to get traded to the Edmonton Oilers.
Another Western team.
I think another Western team. Yep, absolutely. I think they're going to pair him with Connor McDavid, get him in a better situation. You know, I think a trade package might look like giving up one of their younger prospects and maybe a late pick. But I think that it would be worth it to pair a winger like Rantanen next to the GOAT, one of the GOATs, Connor McDavid.
I agree. I know we don't have much time, but I think Rantanen's going to go to the Los Angeles Kings. I think him and LeBron are going to make money moves in Los Angeles.
And plain and simple, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think the Canes are going to figure something out. They're going to keep him down there in Carolina. But that's all the time we've got for today's episode of Stick to Sports. Be sure to tune back in Wednesday, March 22nd, right here on WTOP 10. That's not the right date, but it's okay. Good night, everybody!